Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I rise with the Alabama delegation, including one of our U.S. senators and many others here on the House floor, to pay respect to the end of an era. One of the most improbable, inspiring, and truly remarkable chapters in American history quietly closed during our most recent break. Lieutenant Colonel George Hardy, a veteran of Vietnam, Korea, and World War II, passed away. And this is not a name most of us know in isolation, but we all know the story of the black men who were trained as pilots on airfields in the backwoods of Macon County, Alabama, who would go on to become what the world knows today as the Tuskegee Airmen. Lieutenant Colonel George Hardy was the last surviving Tuskegee Airman who flew combat missions in World War II. He was born in Philadelphia at a time when the military was not integrated, but by the age of 19, he was flying combat missions over the skies of Europe, defending and liberating rights and freedoms abroad that we all know he did not enjoy even back at home. But despite that, Lieutenant Colonel Hardy, he kept the mission first, front and center. And with the other Tuskegee Airmen, they exceeded expectations, and they left behind a spectacular record of service and accomplishment. And though these men took off as the unlikeliest of American heroes, they landed as what is possibly the greatest, most well-known, most well-decorated fighting force in this nation's history. And so as a young man now that has the privilege to represent Tuskegee, it is my honor and it is my obligation, my duty, to stand on this House floor and acknowledge the life, the legacy of Lieutenant Colonel George Hardy and the Tuskegee Airmen and all of those who have served this nation. And with that, I will yield to my colleague from Alabama, Gary Palmer.
Thank you. It's appropriate that we acknowledge the passing of the last of the Tuskegee Airmen. I'd just like to share with you a little bit about them. They trained at Moton Field, Tuskegee Airfield in Tuskegee, Alabama, and later formed units like the 99th Fighter Squadron and the 332nd Fighter Group. They were under the command of Colonel Benjamin Oliver Davis, Jr., who was born right here in Washington, D.C. When the pilots of the 332nd Fighter Group painted the tails of their P-47s red, the nickname Red Tails was coined. The red markings that distinguished the Tuskegee Airmen included red bands on the noses of the P-51s. Some of the bomber crews who flew missions, some of the most dangerous missions during World War II, called them the Red Tail Angels. In combat during the war, they flew over 15,000 sorties, escorting bombers and engaging enemy fighters. They received numerous accolades for the service, including 3 distinguished unit citations, 96 distinguished flying crosses, 14 Bronze Stars, 744 air medals, at least 60 Purple Hearts, and 1 Silver Star. Colonel Davis went on to become the first African-American Brigadier General in the United States Air Force. It is totally appropriate that we recognize the incredible accomplishments with all the opposition that they faced that the Tuskegee Airmen achieved in defense of our liberty. I yield back.
Thank you.
The chair asks all those present in the chamber as well as members and staff throughout the Capitol to please rise for a moment of silence.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.